What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl Jen, and you're listening to the Instant Bond Podcast. I know you're probably thinking, what the hell will she be talking about? What does she even know? The answer is, I'm talking about me. And who knows me better than me? I'm talking about life. I'm talking about love in every aspect. I am here to help people create real, authentic, everlasting relationships. All you have to do is listen and put in a little work out there. That's right, there will be homework. Are you ready to dive deep with me? Are you ready to create instant bonds? What's up, guys? It's your girl Jen, and we are back with another episode of Instant Bond Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are watching on YouTube, you will see that it's a still image this week, y'all. When I tell you I did not have it in me to get dressed, to put on makeup, to look presentable, like life has been lifing lately. There's so much going on. Currently feeling a little like stuffy and just like tired. And so bear with me, please. I am hoping that next week is a better week, but this month of February has just started and it's already like coming at me full swing. It's throwing all the punches, all the curveballs. So it's been a lot going on. So no video today of me, but like, you still get the audio. You still get to feel me. You feel me? And I really can't wait to let you guys know all that's going on. I'm the type of person though, I feel like I can't talk about what I'm doing until it's actually happening, like until things are solidified. So once everything is solidified, paperwork is signed and I'm on the road, not just like making preparation to be on the road, not just packing a suitcase. I'm actually driving towards that road, driving on that road. I'll be able to let you guys know. But until then, I always feel like it's bad luck to let people know what you're doing when you're not actually doing it yet, just like your plans. So no info yet, but just know your girl got a lot going on. And I'm going to need some grace this week and maybe the next few weeks, to be honest with you. But yeah, we here, and we here to talk, okay? I've been speaking a lot to my girlies, women in my circle about love and marriage. And so I wanted to dedicate this episode to the women that want to get married, the women that are prepping for a marriage, and just share my experience, what I did to prep for marriage. It was a really hard time for me when I got engaged and prepping for the wedding and prepping for the marriage, which is two totally different things, if you ask me. But I'm hoping that maybe these little tips and tricks and my story can help to, help another young woman, young lad out there. You just never know, So, as I've already mentioned before, I had never planned to get married. It was not really part of my like life goal. I always knew I wanted a partner. I always knew I could be with someone for the rest of my life, like one person. But marriage wasn't necessarily the goal for me. I think it has a lot to do with never seeing a successful marriage growing up. My parents were already divorced by the time I was like one, so I never got to see them together. I never grew up seeing just a man and a woman having a positive marriage. And so for me, it was like, why would I want this? Like, what is the big deal? What is the benefits of being married when I can just like be with someone that I love And then if we don't end up working out in 15 years or 10 years or 5 years or 2 years, whatever, it's just like you go your way and I go mine. Also, at the time, I never thought about having kids, or I was thinking I don't want kids. So it wasn't like I was thinking about like legacy and, making sure I have a positive environment for my children. Those are the things that were not going through my head because those are the things I didn't want. So in my mind, I was like, I'm going to have a man that I love and I'm going to share life with him. But we're not going to get married because I want to remain an individual. I want to be able to come and go as I please and just have this like very like flowing relationship, not necessarily flowing with other people, but just being able to be in and out without feeling like I'm tied down. Okay. Like I always pictured myself being very successful, traveling, just doing whatever I want to do, and then having that person there as an option. Um, so yeah, I had never saw myself getting married. I was not really interested. And then I met my now husband. I met Steven. And I remember when we were dating, he was like, my next girlfriend is going to be my wife. Like, I want to be married. My parents are married. They've been married. I think his parents been married like 40 years or 30 something years. And so I remember him just like, I was like, are they married and still love each other? Or are they married and they fucking hate each other and can't stand each other, but they just staying married because it's convenient? And he was like, no, they still love each other. They still talk to each other. They still like to be around each other. And I just thought that was so fascinating. I was like, wow, like this shit really do exist. Like it's not just on television and movies. Like there's couples out here that really love each other and just want to be together even after being together for 20, 30, 40 years. And so around that time when I met Steven, this show called Black Love documentary came out on OWN. And honestly, if you've never watched Black Love before, the documentary, like please go and watch it, especially the first few seasons. It is just such a beautiful um such a beautiful series on Black love, and it allows you to look at love and relationships differently. And I always say single-handedly that show has changed my mind on relationships. It's changed my mind on love. It's changed my mind on Black union, and what it looks like and what it could be. There's so many different stories. You see so many different versions of Black love. You see, members of the LGBTQ community. You see people who've been together for 50 years. You see people that's been married for 1 year. Like it's just so many like step parents, and I think that it just helped me to open my eyes to look at love differently and to see it as some Black love as something that's very revolutionary as well. I don't think I ever thought about it that way before that show. And so obviously dating Steven and hearing him say that, and then we're watching the show together, it started to make me look at love differently and marriage differently and start to be like, really looking inside myself like, Jen, why don't you want to get married? Why are you not considering this for yourself? Why do you feel like you need to go through life as this individual? And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that if that's how you truly feel. But I had to ask myself, where are these feelings stemming from? Where are they coming from? Why do you feel this way? Are you afraid of something? Are you trying to guard yourself from something? And I came to the conclusion that I was so afraid of ending up like my parents, divorced, or like the people that I saw growing up married and miserable, or feeling like you can't get a divorce because now you're gonna have to pay alimony. And like I was just like, I don't want to feel that way, so I'm just never gonna get married. And I think it's so easy to be like, oh, they married the wrong person or people change. And you know what? It's like you just have to be able to take that risk and feel like that person is worthy of that risk. Like while I was dating Steven, there were so many things that he showed me that he was husband worthy, husband material, and that he was worth the risk of, if this shit don't work out, I know that like I tried with a great human being, that I was willing and ready to marry this man. You know what I'm saying? Like so many things that we went through, and just to see how he reacted, to see how he was able to problem solve, um just really showed me like, nah, this man is different than any other man that I dated, and he deserves to be with someone who is equally amazing and willing to work at a relationship no matter what. And he really made me want to be a better woman. And I said, I knew going into this that he wanted to get married. So it's almost like selfish of me to be like, well, I didn't. And I still, decided that I wanted to be a girlfriend. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I started to think about, like, if I knew from the beginning that he wanted his next girl to be his wife, and I continued to be in this relationship with him and become his girlfriend, like, yeah, he took a risk on me, but like, that would be so selfish of me to be like, but I told you, like, that's not what I wanted. And so again, I just did the work, dived a little deeper, and came to the realization that really and truly I was just putting a block on myself based off other people experiences. And because I never had those conversations with my parents on, why their relationship didn't work, or any other family member that I know that got married and divorced on why their relationship didn't work, I was creating my own narrative, about marriage and people giving up and what it takes to have one. And so I told myself, if I'm gonna do this, I am going to like research this shit like it's fucking like it's a science class. Like I spent so much time talking to women that I knew that were married, like friends. I spent so much time watching documentaries about love, reading books about love, um, reading the Bible. Oh my Lord. Like I was dead reading the Bible every single night, trying to figure it out, trying to piece the puzzles and make sure that I was making the right decision. And so I would definitely say those are a few of the steps that I took, and we'll go into those deeper a little later. But just definitely wanted to give you guys a little background on why I never wanted to get married, and my anxiety about being a married woman. I also felt like I would be like restricted. Like, oh my God, now, I gotta always run something by him. Like, oh, babe, I'm going to. It's almost like asking for permission instead of just being like, hey, I'm about to go do this. Like, you good? It was like, hey, babe, is it okay if I go to, X, Y, and Z place? I know you're going to be home with, that side of things. So, like, the whole part of feeling like, I had to answer to someone was a lot for me to deal with. Just like I can go down a list of things that made me feel like marriage was not for me. Um, I would say though that part of the reason why I changed my mind as well was Ava, and that's Steven's daughter before me, which I also consider my daughter. She's a huge part of why I felt like I would marry him, because I feel so involved in her life, especially when she's with us. I felt like she deserves this. I feel like she deserves to see two people together, her father with someone who loves him and loves her, and see that dynamic of family. She would always like talk to me about she wish, her mom and her dad could still be together because she wants like that normal family. That's what she would say. Like, I want a normal family. I don't want two moms. I don't want two dads. Those are the things she would say to me because her mom isn't also in a relationship. I don't want two moms and two dads. I just want one mom and one dad, and I want them to live together. And so I know that obviously marrying Steven doesn't um, change her wants. Obviously any child would want their parents together. But I wanted her to see that love can still exist outside of that. And her family dynamic is different, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. Um, I wanted her to see her father being loved. I wanted her to see a proper relationship because I don't know what she sees obviously when she's with her mother. I hope that it's a great dynamic as well, but I wanted to be responsible for the love that she sees when she's with us. And so for me, a huge part of that was her also seeing us get married. And she was a huge part of, you know, before Stephen proposed, he like told her, and she felt very much like a part of the whole situation. And at my wedding, I definitely dedicated like part of my speech to her because I just want her to know that this is home too. Like you have a home over there with your mom, but this is home too. And, I'm not your mother, but I'm your Jenny, like I want to be a important figure in your world to you, and I want you to see how much I love your father and our relationship and our dynamic so that when you grow up you can say, maybe I want a relationship like that. You see some type of like positive reinforcement basically. And so that was another reason why getting married and building this life with my husband was very important to me. Anyways, trying to figure out if I want to jump. Let's jump into the 5 things that I did before getting married. So the first thing, well, I won't put them in order. I won't say the first or the second, but one of the things that I did was seek therapy. When I got engaged, it was the same year that my father passed, and as happy as I was, as excited I was, it was very hard for me to juggle with all of those feelings, the feeling of grief, obviously of losing my father, and then like feeling of happiness of like starting this whole new life with someone that I love so much. And then I knew also with that came so many different changes to even like how I'm living, like I went from living with my sister to now living with my husband and our daughter, and like converting my father's room to her room. And it was just so many shifting and moving parts that I really needed to speak to someone about it. And I needed to speak in a way, ooh, excuse me. I needed to speak in a way that I wasn't going to have to monitor what I say before I said it. I just needed to be able to speak freely and not feel guilty and feel like I have to switch my words after, because I do feel like I can tell my husband anything, but sometimes you don't have the right words to use. And so um, I feel like sometimes, that's the detriment to a relationship when you're communicating and you don't have the proper words and you say something that you mean but you don't mean to say it to hurt the person. So I didn't want anything I said during those months of processing to hurt him or make him feel like he's inadequate or that it's not something that I really want. And so seeking a therapist that I can speak to and just kind of like let it out was so helpful for me. Um, It was more of like a spiritual therapist. I always describe her as that. She just really helped me to see who I am first before I could even put myself in the shoes of a wife or a stepmother or a sister or any or daughter or anything. She just helped me to navigate who I was in those moments, in that time of like my grief. Um, and really just helped me to narrate the woman that I want to be out, even outside of a relationship. And so seeking therapy, man, like was just the best decision that I ever made during that time because wow, like I had so many breakthroughs. Okay. I had so many breakthroughs during that time, and that shit was just it was overwhelming, but it was so needed at the same time, very much so. Next, I would say having a lot of conversations with my husband about the life that we wanted. This was very important because I wanted us to be able to speak to the people that we were now and the people that we want to become, the people that we see ourselves becoming as an individual and in partnership. Um, like what I said earlier, it's just like I feel like sometimes when you get married, you just forget about you as the individual and your goals and your dreams. You just automatically start to do like the we thing, like, oh, we're buying a house and we're moving and we're whatever it is. It's just like we're going on vacation. Like everything is like a we situation. And so I wanted him to be very clear that even within the relationship, I need individuality. I need to, be my own woman, have my own space, have my own goals, my own dreams, my own desires. And I needed him to respect that. And I wanted to know that he was going to do the same. I didn't want him to, become a wee man and everything was just like whatever I wanted, happy wife, happy life. Like I wanted to know what was his dreams, what are your aspirations, what do you think our marriage will look like, what's important for you, on raising our kid together? What type of house environment do you want? Like, just so many questions, so many hours of conversations, uh, like that we had once we got engaged, and definitely playing the instant bond game helped us a lot to feel like it wasn't like interrogating questions. It was just like fun and, flipping the card. Oh, look at the question that came. I didn't want to ask it. The card game asked it. It wasn't me. um, so I would say definitely if you have a hard time breaking through to your partner or feeling like, the conversations are stuffy because only one person is bringing it to the table, instant bond Instant Bond game on Etsy. Link in my bio on Instagram at Instant Bond Pod. It will definitely help to break that ice and get you guys both to open up and obviously create that instant bond. You know what I'm saying? um, Something else that I did was speak to um, married women about their experiences, and not just like the good part, right? Like I wanted to know everything about marriage, and I was so blessed to have women that were willing to share the truth with me, the ugly parts of their marriage, the parts where most people don't want to share because they're afraid of being judged. I was blessed to have women who trusted me enough to know that I wouldn't judge them, to give me that real. And that was so helpful to me because it's just also a reminder that like your relationship is not perfect, your husband is not perfect, you're not perfect, and a relationship is made so that you guys can grow together and you have these tough conversations. Like if your relationship is perfect all day every day, that sounds a bit boring to me because how are you guys learning from each other? Like people have ticks, and like those are the things that you bring to the table later and you help to resolve. And so, when I tell my husband, like, babe, I really hate when you leave all the cabinets open, it just does something to my spirit. Like you got to be able to articulate the things that piss you off and the things that you wish your partner would change, even if they don't happen overnight. I think sometimes it's worth explaining. And so a lot of what these women gave to me was that, like, talk to your partner. Just like we say all the time, communication is key, but like communication is the only thing. If you ask me, communication and understanding. And so um I'm so blessed and grateful for those women for sharing their experiences with me and being so open about what marriage is and what it really looks like. Because you don't get that often, especially now in the social media world. You get a lot of like relationship goals. Our relationship is perfect, we're always on vacation and we take beautiful pictures together, but it's like there's so much more, right? There's so much more to the day to day. Another thing I did was take a solo trip. So, right before I got married, I was also turning 30 and I was overwhelmed with wedding planning. I was trying to plan a huge 30th birthday celebration out the country with friends, and it was just very overwhelming, and it felt like I was doing the fucking most. Like, I even me, I had to stop in my track and like, what are you doing all this shit for? Like, girl, it's your birthday. Who cares about anybody else? Who cares who can and cannot make it? Like, and I just decided I'm going away by myself. I was tired of my boyfriend at the time, my fiance. I was mad at him because we was planning this wedding together, and I felt like I was doing most of the planning. I was mad at friends that couldn't make it. I was mad at life. I was just like in a really nasty spot. And I said, I'm gonna just go away alone. And honestly, that was the best decision. When I tell you, I came back feeling like a whole new woman, like going to Puerto Rico by myself and just spending, I think I did 3 or 4 days not thinking about the wedding, not thinking about planning, not thinking about nobody, just doing whatever I wanted to do, moving to the beat of my own drum was just so exhilarating. And it was exactly what I needed to get on the right course. To remember my why on why I wanted to marry my husband. I did a lot of journaling on that trip. And it just helped me to like release all of those thoughts and those the fear, because I had a lot of fear about getting married and the anxiety. I was able to really release it on that trip and come back and be like, yeah, let's do this, nigga. Let's do this. I'm like talking to my fiance, like, nah, we good now. Everything's good, baby. We doing this. And so that trip helped him because I'm sure he was over me and my like bitchy ways. And it helped me because I was just able to really release and get back on track on the reasons for the seasons. The last thing I did was prayed. I prayed so much and asked for guidance. And another prayer that I always say to God when I'm unsure is like, release anyone around me who is not meant to be for me, who's not happy for me, who doesn't belong in my life in the long term. Like, I just always pray to God to release those people from me, and guide me and cover me in His blood. And I feel like during that time, he just kept reassuring me that my husband was the one. Like, there is nobody else for you. And that was really it. That was just the answers that I needed, because it was like anytime I was grouchy or feeling or being bitchy towards him, he just never gave it back. He just was always like calm and like, babe, this is just a tough time. We got this. We'll be married in a few months. We're gonna be happy. And that's what I needed, because I'm a Gemini. My head gonna go from 0 to 100, like, and then on top, and then after the 100 is going to 1,000. Like, I can run on a million thoughts a minute. So he was always my calm during the storm, after the storm, and before the storm. And so I really feel like praying to God also helped me to better assess and better see that, like, yeah, I'm not tripping. This my man. This my dog. And so those are the things that I did to prep myself for marriage. And I hope that, someone somewhere finds these tips to be helpful. A lot of prepping for marriage, I think, looks like looking within. Um, and making sure that you're ready more than anything. Before you can think of we, you need to think of me. And when you realize that you're ready and you know that later that your spouse is ready, like I feel like you guys can be an unstoppable force. And I truly believe that Black love is revolutionary. And I believe that marriage is something so beautiful that it's so hard for me to even explain, even now being married almost 2 years. And so I would say if you love your person and you can commit and do the right thing and service that person, like, yeah, definitely go for it. Like, it's just such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful experience to have, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
All right, we are going to go on a commercial break. And when we be back, we will be back with the question of the day. Do you ever feel like you need to connect to your spouse more? Ever have questions that you're afraid of asking, but you want to know? Do you have friends where you feel like you can dive a little deeper with, get more connected, create an instant bond? Well, look no further. Instant Bond Game. You can buy it on Etsy.com. Just search Instant Bond Game. The game to get you close and all up in the business of the people that you love, the people that you like, and the people you want to know. Check it out. Etsy.com. Search Instant Bond Game. All right, we are back. And today's question of the day is, what does commitment look like to you? Commitment of self, commitment in a relationship. Just think of the word and how it shows up in your life. So, how does commitment show up in your life? And what does it look like and mean to you? I'd love it if you guys would share with me in the comments. Remember, you can always follow us on social media at InstantBondPod or send us a message, instantbondpod@gmail.com. And as always, thank you guys so much for listening. Please take it easy on your girl. Give your girl some grace and send some positive prayers and affirmations my way because I can use all of them. Until next time, guys. Love y'all. Peace.